Scott Brown, he's the leader of the sheep.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. What a day, eh? What a morning. It's great. I had a great night last night and work. Nothing else, just work. It was a great shift. Brilliant shift. Let's talk about it. Right, let's just not beat around the bush. Subscribe, by the way. We're like 50 subscribers away from 32,000. You're smashing that button. Thank you so much. Let's hit that landmark. I appreciate each and every single one of you. We're flying through this. Last night was tremendous for subscribers after the video we done yesterday. So once more, I'm asking you to make sure I hit that below and hit the like button as well. It's just as important. Thank you very much. But let's not beat around the bush. Let's just talk about last night. I know this is a Celtic channel and Rangers fans will automatically be jumping into the comments section and saying, oh, you're obsessed, you're talking about Rangers, I thought this was a Celtic channel. It is a Celtic channel, but the result last night has huge implications on the title race that Celtic find themselves in. Rangers dropping points last night at Pittodrie. It's a massive result for Celtic. I think most importantly, this undoes the wrongs of that game against St Mirren right before the winter break. You know, that game we dropped points, we drew with St Mirren. It got a lot of people down. It got a lot of Celtic fans throwing in the towel. It just got a really negative reaction, despite the fact we were still only 6 points adrift. We had won a League Cup. There was still a lot of negativity surrounding that. And on the other side, there was a lot of positivity. There was a lot of kind of, I would say, you know, most Rangers fans remained level-headed, but there was a lot of people coming into my comment section in particular and on Twitter giving it, you know, that the league was done and that Rangers were going to run away with it, but they have slipped up a little bit. That is a massive, massive result last night for Aberdeen, for Celtic, and Rangers will be really disappointed. It's the end of a winning run for Giovanni Van Bronckhorst. Celtic now look the sort of better side off the top of this winter break. I know it's only one game in, but it's the start you want. You know, you want to try and make it as nervy as possible. You want to put the pressure on a little bit. And I'm not saying that that's going to be the case for the next few games. We've got a really tough run of games, which we'll talk about. This could change again by next week. Celtic could drop points. Rangers could win back-to-back games. You just don't know how it's going to go. But the point that we sit at right now, that is massive last night. Aberdeen done us a huge favour. And as I've already said, most importantly, it cancels out those drop points against St Mirren. Absolutely tremendous from Scott Brown, by the way. He's just the greatest to ever do it. I will say that till the day I die. We'll see no one better in this league. Not so much from a technical ability, just from his whole presence as a football player. He's just the greatest, the absolute greatest, a Celtic legend. And last night he helped us out big time. I love just seeing him smile and laugh and smirk every time he plays Rangers. It's honestly one of the best sights in Scottish football. Maybe not so much for Rangers fans, but for me, for us, for Aberdeen fans on these occasions. You know, it's a great sight to see Brown like that. But that's huge, that result, and it brings the gap to 4 points. And there's a massive chance for Celtic to try and capitalise, put a little bit of pressure on, and hopefully close that gap further between now and the derby. I doubt that's going to happen. I would see it remaining probably around 4 points, but it does help us out, because now if we do beat Rangers, say it is 4 points going into that game, if we beat them, it's only 1 point of difference, whereas if we beat them where it was 6 points, there would still be 3 points to gain on them. So 1 point could potentially be the difference come the time the derby's played. That's huge. That's massive. So yeah, last night, brilliant result for us, and take it in good stead. The news we're going to talk about in a minute in regards to transfers is exactly what you want to see. You want to see that the day after a result like this, and we'll talk about that. But it's almost like Celtic sniff a little bit of blood. They can smell it a little bit. They're acting like a shark. They're ready to pounce with another signing to add to the team. That's what you want to see from Celtic. Killer instinct. Before the derby comes, we have got 3 games yet to play. We have Alloa this weekend in the Scottish Cup, but in league games, we have got 2 tough ties. We've got Tynecastle next week on the midweek fixture. We've then got Dundee United at Celtic Park. Those are 2 games that aren't going to be easy. They're going to be very, very difficult, don't get me wrong. I think that Hearts especially is a massive test for us. The fact that we lost at Tynecastle in the opening game of the season, the fact that Tynecastle is overall a difficult place to go, this the side that are currently sitting third in the Premiership, That's a massive test. If we can get by that game and get 3 points, no matter what the performance is like, head into a home game against Dundee United and get 3 points there, I will be buzzing come the derby, and I'll be feeling very, very confident, let me tell you that. So then, in preparation for the derby and in preparation for these upcoming fixtures, Celtic are not done in the transfer window. Ange bluffed this one more time. I'm telling you, I love Ange Postecoglou with all my heart, an absolute hero, arguably one of the biggest breaths of fresh air that's ever came across these shores in Scotland, but he loves to just bluff us. He loves to talk absolute mince to get us going and get us saying different things. The other day he was out saying, we're probably done. We're probably done the transfer window unless something extraordinary comes up. Well, it seems in his eyes something extraordinary has come up, because there is someone off to Celtic to complete a medical. There has been a fee agreed, and Celtic are on the verge of making their 5th signing in the January transfer window. Now, one thing I said in my video the other day was, I want a player who can play in the attacking midfield position. I want us to make up for missing out on Riley McGree. I want us to make up for missing out on Hannes Wolf. We're doing that. We're signing an attacking midfielder. So when this news broke this morning, you can imagine that me, Ryan118, was sitting there with a big smile on my face. Matt O'Riley, that's the name, that's the player. Celtic are apparently close to completing the signing of the young Englishman over the coming days, maybe even today if we were lucky, but I'd assume it will take a little bit longer. An attacking midfielder, as we said, coming from MK Dons. Sought after in the English Championship, but looks as though he's going to come north of the border to play for Celtic. Hopefully, this isn't the same situation as what we had with Riley McGree. Hopefully, it doesn't change last minute, but it looks as though he has said no to Blackburn and Swansea, and it looks as though he will be coming to Celtic after extensive talks with Ange Postecoglou over the last 24 hours. That's massive for Celtic, and as I've already touched on, the fact that we thought this window could have been done, the fact we've now went out and went, yeah, you know what, let's add another name to this team, let's strengthen that depth even more. That's a very encouraging sign, and as I said, it's almost like you sniff that blood. You can kind of see that instinct in Celtic there to go and try and add even more quality in chasing this league title. But this is a player who, you know, once again, like most players we sign, I didn't know an awful lot about this morning. After doing some research and such, I'm very excited by the prospect of the signing. But what exactly is he going to bring to Celtic? He is one of the standout players in English League One this season, hence the reason he's been tapped with moves to Blackburn, Swansea and now Celtic. He's got, I think, something like 5 goals, 7 assists. I've got it down the bottom of the screen. That will be the correct figures on the graphic. But he's been one of the standouts. He's been one of the players of the season thus far in League One after only a year being spent at MK Dons. He's a guy who really is focused on himself and really focused on his football. So Celtic does seem like the smart move. He's coming up here to challenge himself. I was reading an interesting article in the Athletic this morning. It was about Matt O'Riley and his move to MK Dons. You know, he rejected a contract extension at Fulham to go and play with MK Dons, to go and train himself and all the rest of it, because he just didn't see himself getting the football. I think he was told he wasn't going to get the football at Fulham, and he said, no, bugger that. I don't care about the money. I want to be playing football. It seems like a guy who's got his head screwed on, wants to play, and it's the kind of player you really want to have at Celtic, because we have had issues in the past with players who've came up and they've not got what they want. They're only focused on moves elsewhere. But this seems like a guy that's going to be only 21 years old as well, may I add, so a very young player with a lot of room for development, who wants to come up here and wants to add to the footballing ability he already has, and to add to the player that he already is. I think he comes across with his personality as the type of player that Ange Postecoglou will love. He'll want to really add to the squad, and he'll bring a real positivity around the dressing room, which is something that is obviously massive at this moment in time. There is such an immense positivity in this dressing room. There is such a chemistry with this Celtic side. To bring in players like that who don't seem to be kind of taken over by ego or to be focused on money or themselves, to come up, you know, to come up and do this and come as a player that he seems to be, adds into that already positive atmosphere we've got at the club. So I'm all for this signing on the basis that, you know, he comes in and strengthens that depth that we already had. So the fee we're talking about is around £1.5 million for the player. MK Dons probably looking for as much as they can get, because they have got a sell-on fee to Fulham. I think 50% of the profit or 50% of the transfer, whatever it has to go to Fulham. None of my business, not really bothered. So Celtic are paying out a little bit more than probably is value would suggest. But look, £1.5 million for a player who has had a great season, someone who's going to come up to Celtic to probably play a lot of football, is a relatively good fee. It's a fee that I'd be happy with as a Celtic fan, but I'm not paying the money. And look, it looks as though he's going to come in, bring a sort of presence in that midfield that is going to improve us. You can't really argue with that. Now, this is one thing that I want to touch on. It kind of maybe suggests the quality of the player we're dealing with here. He's a former England youth international. He's played for England at youth level, I am led to believe. However, he's wanted by the Danish national team. He must have, I've not looked into it, so I'm just presuming that he'll have some sort of Danish heritage, maybe a father, mother, grandfather, whatever, you know what I mean? Probably has some Danish heritage in there. And he's eligible, I think, to play for Denmark, and they are strongly interested in bringing Matt O'Reilly to the Danish national team. I also believe I've seen something about the Norwegian national team as well. I'm not 100% on Norway, but I have read up and I have seen that the Danish national team want to bring him over into their side, which, you know, is a very good national team. Obviously, a national team that Scotland had a lot of good times against this year, but I say a lot of one good time. But, you know, the Danish national team is not bad. You know, the quality of player in that team is pretty high. You're looking at a side that finished in the top 4 of the Euro 2020 campaign. You're looking at a side who almost went with a perfect record, an impeccable record in the qualifying for the 2022 World Cup. And you're looking at a side that has a great pool of players, fantastic players. You look at you got nominees for the Ballon d'Or like Kjaer at the back. You've got Kasper Schmeichel, of course. You've got Højbjerg in the midfield. You previously had the likes of Christian Eriksen, who I believe wants to come back into the side as well. You're looking at a very impressive national team side there, which is probably hard enough to get into. But when the Danish FA are tapping you up and want you in that team, that can only be a positive, and that can only speak volumes about the player himself. The more I read into MK Dons fans, and the more I read into the English press and such, who have seen a lot more of him than me, a lot of them have been dubbing him a Premier League calibre of player playing in League One. It was only a matter of time before he got a move, and Blackburn doesn't look as though he's going there. Swansea are now in for Hannes Wolf as well, so it looks as though that he isn't going to go there. Celtic seems the kind of clear destination at this point. I've seen a lot of people comparing him to Tom Rogic, the same style of play, the same kind of stature of player. I mean, if we get another Tom Rogic, I'm not too fussed. I mean, Tom Rogic has done some fantastic things for this club, but a 21-year-old for £1.5 million, a guy who is obviously a high standard, yeah, I'll take it. And I'm glad that Ange Postecoglou bluffed us like that. So we'll wait to see what happens in the coming days then. We'll wait to see what news is given in regards to this signing. It looks as though it will be finished, and hopefully before the game against Alloa on Saturday. But I'll keep you updated on this channel as always. If you need to as well, follow me on Twitter. I'm always sure to be tweeting some, well, mostly shite, mostly memes. But, I mean, when stuff like this happens, I need to tweet. So keep up with me on Twitter. Keep up with the Celtic podcast page on Twitter, which will have news on that as well. And yeah, like and subscribe. I'll see you all next time.